After filmmaker Kip Andersen's environmental awakening, he became obsessively conscious about his personal impact on the world. But his life drastically changed when he found out that the main culprit of planetary destruction was actually being shielded by leading environmental organizations. It's an issue that he tackles in his new documentary, Cowspiracy, and he joins me now to discuss. Thank you so much for coming on, Kip.
Thank you so much for having me.
So the latest UN report on climate change contains dire warnings about the future of this planet. If humans do not immediately and collectively reduce carbon emissions, Kip, how much does factory farming, beef and specifically, impact climate change?
Well, it's one of the leading, if not the leading causes, depending on what stat you see. It's everything from 18% of human-caused greenhouse gases all the way up to 51% compared to transportation, which is only 13%. Yet this is not being told to us by the leading environmental groups such as Greenpeace and Sierra Club and all these. It's essentially kind of being hidden from us.
And photographer Mishka Henner recently took some aerial shots of factory farming in the U.S. They look horrific. I mean, they look like festering zombie wounds here. What the hell are these giant red and toxic green masses even comprised of, and what effects do these kind of cesspools have on the environment?
Yeah, so it's basically causing the greenhouse gases. Methane is up to, some studies show 85 times more potent than CO2, and that's what's really causing this human-caused greenhouse gases. It's a lot more than the transportation. So it's it's just incredibly destructive, and that's only one part of the many, many things that else it does, including water use and land use and rainforest destruction, species extinction as well.
Absolutely. How does America compare to the rest of the world when it comes to factory farming?
Well, and also it's not only factory farming. With America, we have so much land. It's also the grass-fed and the pasture raising. This what really affects the wolves and the wild horses. There's more wild horses in captivity than there are free on the land because of these huge, our land use is around 45% upwards for animal agriculture. So it's not only factory farming, it's all of this animal agriculture.
That's an incredible statistic right there. And let's talk about water, because this is another very stunning facet of the documentary. I wanted to play a clip from Cowspiracy about just how much water is wasted in the process of raising cattle.
I found out that 1/4 pound hamburger requires over 660 gallons of water to produce. Here I've been taking these short showers trying to save water, and to find out just eating one hamburger is the equivalent of showering 2 entire months. So much attention is given to lowering our home water use, yet domestic water use is only 5% of what is consumed in the U.S. versus 55% for animal agriculture.
Kip, amazingly, Beef Magazine responded to this point in your film, saying 713 gallons of water go into the production of one cotton T-shirt, and nearly 3,900 gallons, 39,000 gallons are used to build a car. So what's the big deal to waste a few hundred to consume a hamburger?
That's the funniest thing, is that was the greatest stat that they could give to tell the ranchers to combat, damage control for this film. That was the only one. And it's as if we eat a T-shirt a day, or even a T-shirt a week, or even a month. Whereas, people are consuming meat once, twice a day, and even if it's once a week, as we said, one hamburger is the equivalent of showering 2 entire months. And, in California, we're in a drought, yet this is not being told to us.
Right, and then, a T-shirt can last your whole life, and a car as well. And some people eat, 2 to 3 hamburgers a day. That is an insane amount of water being wasted, and that's just the waste. Of course, California has that drought going on. Let's talk about water pollution. This was really fascinating, too. You spoke to the Surfrider Foundation about this very issue. They seem completely unaware of the vast cattle production going on all over Southern California. Why do you think that is?
Well, a lot of it is, for all these environmental groups, part of it is ignorance. Part of it is that they just don't feel that it's a win, particularly a win, quote-unquote, win campaign where they can gather more money, more donors. As we say, it's profits over planet. And part of it's just ignorance. They just aren't really aware of this because it's just not really told to us in the general media outlets, even though it's a simple Google search to find that the leading cause of water pollution by far is animal agriculture, as well as contamination and, as you saw, water use.
Kip, really? I mean, the film is called Cowspiracy. I mean, I find it really hard to believe that these people are just ignorant. I mean, if they are such hardcore environmental activists, it took you, you easily transitioned to realizing that this was a huge facet. This guy has cattle production going on in his backyard. He's in Southern California. I don't know, man. It just seems like there is another reason for this wall of silence.
Yeah, well, it's, trifold. Not only is it, they just really don't feel like Greenpeace, there's so many supporters, they don't feel that it'll gather them more money or supporters. So it's not necessarily a win campaign. They just don't see it being a long-term, money generator and to get them more funding. But it is also ignorance. And that's what's so fun about the film is it follows my journey where we interview each of these different organizations, and it's hilarious if it wasn't so disturbing, each of these interviews, if it wasn't so serious, that they're really the ones that need to tell us this. Right,
exactly. And I think a lot has to do with the meat lobby. How much impact does this lobby have over government policy and the perpetuation of this kind of rampant unaccountability when it comes to the environment?
And that's, to defend these environmental groups, partly it is that, partly is there's this silence on them. For fearful there'll be some backlash against the government. The meat industry has such an incredible, powerful lobby group that some of these industries and these environmental groups and people in general are frightened to talk out with these ag-gag laws and other things that have snuck into even the Patriot Act. And that's another one. And also there's some ties to these industries, to the meat lobby industry, and to the heads of the organizations, the board of directors, to some of these environmental groups that they cross over, smartly so, for the beef and animal agriculture industry to kind of get in the ropes with the very groups that should be calling them out, yet they're kind of going into bed with them.
Right, and Will Potter, of course, tackling those ag laws head on with his drones flying over factory farms. I love that you interviewed him in that film. Let's talk about subsidies here, because you mentioned kind of that ridiculous amount of land that's being wasted to just simply raise livestock. How are government subsidies exacerbating the problem, land, feed, and livestock?
Yeah, the subsidies is unbelievable. Subsidies to these grains that they eat, the corn, the soy. We have the author of Meatonomics, which is a great book in the film, and there's a study that show this is on the low end, that for say someone eating a Big Mac that costs around $3 to $4 without subsidies could cost, or should cost really, around $13 to $15, and there's other studies by say Dr. Openlander that could cost $20 to $30 that you don't even know of what these products do to not only the environment but to our health, that we're then paying through these healthcare benefits as well. It just goes on and on and on.
Right. I feel like if meat really cost its true amount, I think people would really wake up. First of all, they wouldn't eat nearly as much, but they would maybe say, hey, why does this cost so much? Oh, wait, that's the real cost of meat. Due to these subsidies, it's just incredible. Let's talk about what we can do here, because I think people are really adverse to kind of the thought of going full vegan. How can people eat meat more responsibly, and is there anything that we can do to attack this issue head on?
Well, really it is to inform yourself. You can't make a wise decision until you inform yourself. That's what's great about this film. It's a really entertaining narrative. So watch the film, and once you inform yourself, then you can make the decision to see that, is it sustainable? Is even backyard sustainable? Is grass-fed sustainable? Is organic? And follow the journey and do your own research to find out that it really, really isn't. And once you do that, then you watch films such as Forks Over Knives to see that not only is it bad for the environment, it's really bad for your health.
Kip.
And then once you inform yourself, then you can see.
Thank you so much, Kip Andersen. Cowspiracy. Everyone check it out. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.